Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Shodo Double Cross Kamen Rider 05. So we have a nice assortment here. Let's go ahead, open up the box and take a look. So you can see, if the flap will cooperate, what the breakdown is here for this case at least. We get 2 of Gaim, we get 2 of Hirobi, we get 1 of Nigo, we get 2 Necrom, we get 1 of Kazadi, and then we get 1 of Eternal Red Flare, and then we get an accessory box. So I have to be honest, I was kind of surprised. Like, Gaim makes sense to give me 2. I was surprised Necrom got 2. I thought Nigo would have got 2, but here we are. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique boxes here, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and pop one out just so we can take a look. They all look fairly similar. Have a picture of the character here on the front. Have the breakdown over here on the side. Nothing really going on the bottom or this side. We saw this already. And then over here, just kind of showing you a little bit of the figure. I think Gaim definitely needs some paint, but we'll get there. I'm going to go ahead and get all these 7 boxes open up, and then we'll take a closer look. So here are the 6 figures out of the packaging. We'll start over here on the left with Hirobi. Really nicely done, honestly. I love these Shodo figures because they do a really nice job of detailing, and the paint applications are all super great. And there are no stickers in the entire box, and that makes me very happy. But yeah, Hirobi looks good. I think they did a great job here painting the helmet. You have all of this detail. You have kind of this nice texturing here on some parts of the armor, which is very similar to what we saw with 01. I think they did a great job carrying that over. You get this version of the Attache Arrow here in the extra parts box, as well as the like closed up version of the Attache Arrow, and a closed up version of the Attache Caliber, and an opened version of the Attache Caliber. So I think that's really cool. I think these were included in the first box with 01, or I should say the first set with 01 as well, but it's always good to get more of them because a lot of different people on the show use them. So I appreciate all of those really nice inclusions in that extra part box. Down here, we have some really nice detailing on the armor, and the paint applications look really good. Now, I'm going to go through the articulation here with Hirobi, but they basically all have the same articulation. So the head's on a ball joint, so you can look down, you can look up a little bit, side to side, you can tilt side to side a little bit. You have a ball joint here for the arm. Now, his molding here on the shoulders kind of gets in the way, but you can kind of see that there's also like a little bit of a butterfly joint in there as well. So that moves side to side, and then, you know, he can definitely move like all around front to back, but out to the side's a little limited just because of the shape of his arms. But you also have a bicep swivel, 90-degree bend there in the elbow. The wrists can rotate, and you can get a bunch of different hands. So these are just pegs. They just pop out like this, and then you pop them right back in. So, of course, that gives him the ability to swivel, but also we'll go over his extra hands in a moment. You have a ball joint here in the abdomen, as well as one at the waist. It's kind of hard to get the one in the waist to move because usually just the one up top here wants to move, but you can still get a pretty good range of motion and ab crunch there. You have ball joints in the hips, so you can go pretty far out to the side, kick forward, but you can see it kind of rolls up as you do that, but you can spin. You have a thigh swivel there as well, so you can get the range of motion that you need. I would say slightly over 90 in the knees, and then you have a ball joint in the ankle, and then you also have a toe hinge. So really nice range of motion. I like it a lot. I really, really like this line. They're great figures, really nicely detailed and painted. No stickers, which is a big plus for me because I cannot keep up with Shodo with how long it takes me to do all the stickers, so I've kind of started focusing mostly on Shodo. They're just great little 3 3/4 inch figures, and they're ready to go right out of the box. So I like this quite a bit. So that is Hirobi. Let's move on next to Gaim. If Hirobi will stand. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we move on to Gaim, I have to show you Hirobi's extra hands. So every figure comes with one of these little rectangular grids here that you can store the extra hands in. And you can see Hirobi gets a closed fist set of hands, and then you have an open set of hands here as well. So what I have him with right now is like one gripping hand and one open hand. And so this is a gripping hand on this side, and this is the other open hand. So you get 3 sets of hands in total for him. Sorry, I meant to show that off and I forgot. So now let's take a look at Gaim. Now Gaim is one of my favorite riders of all time, and at first glance, when we first saw pictures of this, I immediately thought, wow, something is just off. He needs more paint. And it would be nice to get a little bit of the detailing here, because he does have kind of like all this gold that should be painted. You can see the details there are definitely molded into the figure, so if you wanted to paint it yourself, you absolutely could. But this, you know, is on the suit, painted gold, the lining there, and it's definitely missing and kind of just generally makes him look like he's missing paint. But in person, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Honestly, when we first saw pictures, I was really, like, I thought it looked off, and I just, you know, something was missing. But in person, honestly, it's not really that bad. You still have the gold down here for the shins and around the wrists here. The Maru is in the extra accessory box. That looks fantastic. The Muso Saber is actually included with the figure, so if you don't buy the accessory box, you will still at least get the Muso Saber, and it does slide into the holster here, which I think is fantastic. And it can connect to the bottom of the Maru, so you can make that full weapon there, which is excellent. I really appreciate that. So you can see that it's kind of on a little track right there, and then you can see the track there in the holster, and that just slides right in pretty simply. There we go. So I appreciate that. Now you can see all of the armor is painted orange. They didn't paint the back of it, but I'm okay with that. It's not really that big of a deal. The driver doesn't have any paint, but honestly, none of the drivers for these Shodo figures have paint. Usually I think it's because they don't want to... Well, I assume it's just for detailing budget purposes, I should say. But sometimes, like I know with the O's figures, when they can change, they didn't want to paint them because they didn't want to lock you into any combinations. And I was going to say something like that, and then I realized, well, he's using the orange lock seat. It has to be locked in. So it's definitely all molded, though. If you wanted to paint it yourself, you could. All of the detail is there. They just kind of had to skimp out for the budget, but it looks good. This, I think, all looks good. All of this paint here for the armor, I think, looks solid. The helmet, I think, looks beautiful. Really nice job. This can come off. This is just pegged onto the front here. So just be careful if you knock it off. It just pegs right back on very simply. It's not super loose or anything like that. It's not going to fall off. But like if you hit it with your hand, it's fairly easy to knock it off. So, but it pegs right back in. No issue there. But yeah, the helmet I think looks really good. The armor I think looks really good. The gold paint that we do get looks good. Yeah, it would be nice to get a little bit more. But it's not as jarring as I first thought it would be when I saw it in the first pictures. In person, it's honestly not that bad. And then you have his holder here on the side. If I can zoom in here. And you have Ichigo and Pine. Those are actually molded, not painted, of course, but they are molded in. You can tell that it's Pine and Ichigo, which I think is really cool, because those are kind of the lock seeds that he has in the early stages of the show. So I'm honestly pretty happy with it. Like I said, could it use more paint? Of course. Everything could always use more paint, but I'm honestly much happier with it than I thought I was going to be. I was afraid it was going to look really out of place, but it's not really that bad in person. Next up, we have Kazari, one of our greeds from O's. Really nicely done here. I'm really happy that they're doing the greeds. We have 3 of them, I think, at this point. So just, you know, 2, I think 2 more? Were there 4 of them in total? I think so. But in any case, very happy to get these. These are great figures. Don't really need a ton of accessories, but really nice molding here. I mean, you can see all the spikes here in the armor, and these are painted pretty nice with the silver and the gold. The head, I think, looks fantastic. Really nice job here. Got the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads do limit his articulation a little bit, but they're kind of a soft enough plastic that you can get a decent amount. What I will say is he has these big claw pieces, and it's really difficult to peg hands in because the connection is down in here, and you have to kind of get it in, but then this part's in the way. So I opted for larger hands just because it was easier to grab a hold of something to push it in. Oh, and I'm forgetting the hands again. We'll go through both of their hands in a minute. But again, same articulation. He's got all the ab crunch and everything going on here. All the same articulation as the other figures. But just really looks solid. The dreads came out great. I think the paint there is good. They all have the little stand connection here. They don't come with stands. Shodo doesn't come with any stands, but they do still have the connection points if you have Tamashii stands or anything like that you want to use. But yeah, he came out great. I really like this quite a bit. So let me go back and look at Gaim's hands. So he's got like a grasping kind of trigger finger set of hands, and then an open set of hands, and I have him with one of each right now, and then he's got a closed fist set of hands. So very similar to Hirobi. And then if we take a look at Kazadi, he's got this like pointing set of hands and a closed fist set of hands. So I don't know, I guess he pointed at stuff a lot. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I've seen those. But yeah, that's the kind of hand. Right now, he's also got an open set of hands, which is what I have him using right now. So he has 3 sets of hands as well. Let's get him to stand. Next up, we have Necrom. I'm loving the Ghost love. Ghost is really getting some nice figures in Double Cross. We've seen Ghost himself and Spectre previously, so I'm happy to get Necrom here. He looks good. He comes with his weapon. This actually comes, I shouldn't say he comes with it. This is in the extra accessory box. But you can see, and I forget what this is called. I know the other wasn't, I think Spectre's was the hand gun or something like that, and this has a slightly different name. I never got this one. But you can see he loads the icons into this little spot here on the palm, and then this is the gun mode. It also comes with the extended hand mode. So I don't know why they didn't just make it so you could actually move this. All you'd have to do is make it so this one piece could fold down, but instead they give you both versions here. So again, these are in the extra part box, the accessory box. They do not come with Necrom himself, but we'll put them off to the side so we can take a look. I think the helmet came out great. Mine's a little bent just from being in the bag, but really nice metallic green paint there. I think that came out great. All of the green paint here on the hoodie looks good. He's even got the his changer here on his wrist, and he comes with 2 versions of it. So if I bring in his extra pieces here, this is where I think it's after he's changed and it's just kind of on his wrist, but you can actually pop this off. It just pegs in, and he comes with the other version. So you can swivel it up, which I think is cool. So if he's like mid-transformation, or if you want him to kind of be messing with it, I think I can get this to go over here. If I utilize the articulation, maybe. Yeah, close enough. So if you want him to be doing something with it, you can definitely make it look like that. I think that's cool. I think that's neat that they included both versions of it. I appreciate that. I personally just like the one that he has it down on the wrist. But if you, like I said, if you want him in a pose where it looks like he's getting ready to change into something else, you can definitely do that. I know a lot of people don't like Ghost in terms of the show, and I get it, but the suits were really cool. I still really like the suits from the show, so I'm really happy to be getting some suits in this line. I don't know that we'll see too much more. We have the kind of, 3 main riders from that, but I'm happy we got all 3. Because I always really liked Necrom's color scheme. I just think you have the lime metallic green, the black, the white. It's a really great color scheme. I just really like that quite a bit. So very happy to get him. I showed you the extra version of his changer. And then for his extra fists, he has a open set and a trigger finger set. So again, I have him with one of each right now. And then a closed fist set of hands. So again, very similar to pretty much everyone we've seen so far. And then next up, we have Nigo here. Now, you want to talk extra hands. This guy has got the hands. This guy comes with 8 sets of hands. Of course, he's got the posing set of hands. He's got a closed fist set of hands. I have him with one of each right now. And then he's got some grasping hands. And then he's got some other, like, posing hands. So he has definitely got the hands. He's ready to throw hands. But you can see that it's like the full glove. So when you disconnect this, it pops off here. It's the full glove. So he's got a very, very small forearm there. But you just pop this on very simply. So I've got him kind of, doing the henshin pose. He also has 2 versions of the scarf. So this is the one that comes in the box with him if you buy just the box with Nigo in it. This, like, out to the side in the wind version of the scarf is in the accessory box. So I just decided to give him this one. I just thought it was kind of fun. But he's got all the same articulation. He's probably got the best articulation because he doesn't have any bulky shoulder pads or anything. So nothing's getting in the way of his articulation. but everything's still the same. He looks good. I like him a lot. Paint on the helmet, I think, looks fantastic. Just all around a really good figure. We had Ichigo previously, but it's nice to get Nigo now, so we can have the iconic duo. But yeah, he looks great. They even painted the belt all the way around. Really appreciate that. Really looks good. Fun little figure there. And then last but not least, we have Eternal Red Flare. I don't know why they're giving us another version of Eternal. They like to do this a lot, I guess, just because I like to get use out of the mold. But I think this was a form from one of the movies. I don't even remember at this point. But I mean, it looks nice. You know, you have the flames here on the side, the red paint on the forearm, nice metallic red paint for the hands, a little bit down here. But I feel like this guy is in the wave, honestly, as the budget figure. Like, the paint application budget that would have been allotted to this figure went into everybody else. So the reason that these guys all look really good is because this guy's got almost nothing going on. I mean, look at the helmet. Again, everything looks good and it's sharp. They just wanted to pick a figure that doesn't need a lot of paint because he's mostly white. You have a little bit of silver and gold here on the helmet. A little bit of silver here for the shoulder pads. You have the red on the arms. His driver actually got paint, which is nice, I guess, because they figured they weren't painting much else. Now, I can't tell. Is that painted or molded? I think that's a separate... actually, maybe it was painted because there's a little bit of white peeking out there. Okay. And then you have just a little bit of metallic here around the ankles. So, you know, not a lot of paint on this guy. And I think it's, you know, they took his paint budget and distributed it among everybody else, which I get. I mean, you see a lot of toy lines do this kind of thing. It's why Marvel Legends always has like one super small figure and he always or she always comes with the torso of the Build-A-Figure. They got to balance stuff like that. So I feel like this guy was definitely a balance figure. But he looks good. I mean, like I said, if you like Eternal, you know, it's a good figure. Definitely a nice mold and a nice paint job. So if you want that second version of Eternal, there he is. And then for extra hands, again, gripping set of hands, open set of hands, closed fist set of hands. So that's kind of, I mean, I would say most of these come with 3 sets of hands. I think that's kind of what they're moving to. Previously, we had seen a lot of different sets of hands, but I kind of feel like closed fist, grasping, and open set kind of covers most of the bases, unless the character has like a signature pose, you know, like with double and the kind of, you know, he does the pointing, like the count up your sins pose. Something like that, you know, Kuga giving a thumbs up. Those kind of things I feel like they have to do because it's so iconic to the character. But unless the character has like a very iconic hand pose, which sounds like a weird phrase to say, I'm okay with just the 3 set of hands. I think that's fine. The reason that Nigo got so many, I think, is because they're basically using the same mold from Ichigo, and he had this many, and they're just painting them differently. So that just carried over, and that's why he's the only one in the set that actually has 4 instead of 3. But again, I'm okay with that. I think it's a great set. Honestly, I'm really happy with all of these. Eternal is probably my least favorite, only because I like the regular Eternal, and I already have that one, so I didn't really need this one. But again, I think it makes sense when you have a lot of these characters that are very intensive on paint for their designs. They wanted to throw one guy in there who didn't need that much paint so that they could kind of redistribute his budget. And it worked. I mean, they all came out great. I'm really happy with all of them. Even Gaim, who I previously thought really could have used some more paint, as he knocks Hirobi over for having more paint. In person, I don't think it's as bad as I originally thought it was going to be. I would have loved the lining here to be painted blue, and here on the forearms as well, but I get it. And at least they painted the shins. If they had left the shins unpainted, and this whole thing from the way down was just blue, I think it would have looked terrible. I think it would have been really too much blue. But they painted these at least, which I think looks really good. The gold here on the wrist. And even the black of the driver breaks it up a little bit. So yes, I would have loved the paint on the legs, but I get it. And in person, it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm excited for that one. I think Baron's coming soon, another wave. He looks phenomenal. We're also getting Zangetsu, but they skipped over Ryugen and went to Kachidoki. I don't know why. I'm hoping they fix that. I'm hoping that was an oversight. I really want Ryugen. If you're going to do 3 out of the 4 in this line, that's going to kill me. So please go back and do Ryugen. You know, Bandai, who's not watching. In any case, this is a good set. I like it a lot. I really like these figures. I think they have great articulation, great paint applications, no stickers, which is a big thing for me. And just, you know, this is the size figures that I like to collect, the kind of 1/18 scale. And these are great. So I cannot recommend these highly enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.